He's in prison. What's he whistling about? Irritated me. I went and laid back down. All of a sudden I heard him say, is there a Clyde Bellecourt here? I didn't want to talk to anybody. Is there a Clyde Bellecourt? Clyde Bellecourt, if you're here, answer me. He was a welder. He was a tinsmith. He had the job of going around and welding all the pipes that were leaking in the institution. And finally I responded, I'm Clyde Bellecourt. And we're looking at one another eye to eye. And then he started to talk to me. He said, my brother, I've heard so much about you. I heard you were a boxer, championship boxer. I heard you run the football teams in St. Cloud Reformatory. You always had the championship teams. I heard they used to bring professional fighters in and the Indians would beat them all up. That you excelled in every sport that you had and you were always the manager. I need your help. I said, why do you need my help? He said, I met with a young caseworker here. His name is James Donahue. I said, so? Well, he has all the Indian casework. He loves Indian people. When he was a little boy, he spent all of his time, he had rheumatism, he spent all his time in the hospital. He started learning about Indian people. And now he's the caseworker for all the Indians in this institution. And we did a study. And we found out that every single Indian in this institution is in here for alcohol-related crimes. We found out that Indian people come in here for the lesser crime and they do the most time. We found out they don't have no parole plans. They don't have anybody help them out there when they get parole, so they stay here. Sometimes they get a parole and they're still here 2 years later because nobody will help them. They're the ones that make the license plates and spin the twine and make the farm machinery for the state of Minnesota. And you talk to them, they'll just laugh at you. They'll make jokes about everything. And we felt if we could build some type of a culture program, teach them about their history, teach them about their language, teach them about their spiritual way of life and their traditions, maybe they would become proud. Maybe they'd want to go into higher education, skilled in technical trades, do something about their alcohol problem, develop parole plans. And we think that if we can start an Indian Studies program, a culture program, we can do that. But we need your help, they said. Why do you need my help? I don't know anything. I know I'm an Indian. If anybody says anything bad about Indian, they have to fight me, man. But I didn't know anything about being Indian. And I told them that. They said, you're an organizer. You have the best football team, the best boxing team, best baseball team. You control all the cigarettes in the institution. Cigarettes are money. They knew that I had thousands and thousands of cartons of cigarettes owed to me from the games and gambling and betting on these teams inside. We need you to come out. You know every single Indian in this institution. You started in Red Wing to St. Cloud, to Stillwater, to the workhouses, and now you're all here. They respect you. And we need you to help us, to organize them. So I made a deal with them. You take me out of the solitary confinement, put me back in the power plant where I can finish my trade, my work, my skills that I wanted to be. Put me in the honor dorm, and I'll come out and help you. It took them a couple of weeks, and they came up with the associate warden and told me that they're going to release me. Meet my demands so I'd help them put that together. And I came out. I studied William Whipple Warren, the history of the Ojibwe Nation. I read Black Elk Speaks over and over and over. In the prison, the only thing they give you to read is the Bible. So when I got these new books, I don't like to read, I read every single one of them. I started learning about, dreaming about being an eagle, flying over the Great Plains area. But back up, as a little boy, witnessed the Sundances where people were all painted up. Horses were up on their back, hoofs and dancing. I started having those kinds of dreams at night. I started feeling good about being an Indian. We organized the first Indian Studies program anywhere in America, long before they had it at Berkeley and the University of Minnesota, long before they had it in the tribal colleges across America. We were doing that in Stillwater. That's where the American Indian movement started for me. That's what I didn't start in Minneapolis. I started in Stillwater State Prison. We drove the average time of the Indian inmates all the way from 6 years down to 24 months in a 3-year period of time. They started to go into skilled and technical trade, taking university courses out of that little program. So once we got that going, you know, we approached the Associate Warden one day, and my brother Eddie Benton Benet, who was the Grand Chief of the Three Fire Society, today one of the largest and fastest growing movements of Indian people in the Great Lakes area, all the way up to Canada, southwest, east, north. Thousands of people come together 4 times a year. Little children, 3 or 4 years old, just now learning to talk, are learning their language. They got to know what clan they come from. They got to know what tribe they belong to. They got to be able in Anishinaabe language to beg permission to enter the Meday Lodge. And we tell them, come on in, my little nephew, my little sister. Grandmas and grandfathers that have never been in touch with their Indian way of life and their tradition and spirituality are coming by the hundreds from all 4 directions of the universe to become part of that spiritual movement today that I knew nothing about. What's hidden from us from the public and parochial school systems of America, and is still hid today. Still hid today. Still today, we're not allowed to learn about our traditional and spiritual way of life. We went to the war, and Eddie Benton Benet said, we need a drum. We need a drum. We went and talked to this associate warden that was helping us with everything, Dr. Moran, we need a drum. And he says, I can't do that. If I give you a drum, pretty soon the blacks want their drums and their saxophones, and pretty soon this organization will want their guitars, and we'll have chaos in here. And Eddie Benton Benet convinced them that without a drum, we couldn't move any further. That's the way all of us communicated with the Creator at one time with that little boy water drum. That drum, that sacred drum, is the way we communicated with the Spirit. And finally, the warden told us. The warden said, if a drum should show up on my desk someday, I guess I'll have to give it to you. So when he was gone on vacation, we built a drum back in the coal bins of the power plant where I worked. We took this old shimi cloth and we soaked it. Soaked it for about a week, tightened it up. Got a big ice cream carton, conker board, they call it, about that thick, a round circle. Paid 65 packs of cigarettes for it. Got it out of the kitchen and we stretched it over that. Painted that drum, beautiful paintings on it. Put beautiful paintings on the top. Put nice red cloth around it. We paid another 6 cartons of cigarettes. All the mail used to come in to the back of the kitchen on the ramp, then it was distributed throughout the institution, including the warden. Associate warden's mail came in. So we paid another 6 cartons of cigarettes. We got a box. Put that beautiful hand-painted drum in that box and put the associate warden's name up there. Paid 10 cartons of cigarettes to have it go through 6 iron doors up to the associate warden's office. And they put it on his desk. About a week later, Dr. Moran came back from his vacation. He sent a note out to the cell block, have Mr. Benton and Mr. Bellecourt come to my office immediately. We went up there and he had this box open, and then there was this beautiful drum. We act like we didn't know anything about it. We never saw it before. We went, oh, what a beautiful drum. Oh, who sent that? He said, I don't know who sent it. It was anonymous. There's no address, no return address. But I promised you, if a drum should show up in my office, I would have to give it to you.